Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description.
Hey everybody. So today what I wanted to explore and focus on and definitely let your thoughts be known in the comments is on meditation and deeper meditation and arguably journeys and traveling into other planes. So one of the books that I've been reading lately is The Wedding of Sophia by Jeffrey Raff. Sorry, I left the book somewhere. Let me know where you think. Um, and I've because I've been exploring a lot of deeper wisdom things that aren't just relegated to one of the neo-pagan kinds of ideas, and mainly esotericism, Gnosticism, self-realization, things like that. And the archetype that the Wedding of Sophia talks about, it's in the title, is Sophia, the divine wisdom, the divine feminine. And so Jeffrey Raff in his book delineates a difference in meditational experiences where when we go to meditate or journey and you want to connect with a particular kind of spirit or an idea. I'm not even going to use these terms because, it's already like downloaded in here, so I'm going to translate it into my own stuff. But there is a separation in a hierarchy, if you will, about the different experiences that you have. So when we meditate and we are not just focusing on breathing, and of course that's how you should start a meditational practice. It's like building that muscle with a dead weight or with a hand weight or what have you. You're focusing on your breathing because you're trying to relax your mind. You're trying to get your conscious mind to focus and kind of chill out so then stuff can bubble up from your unconscious. This is a great way of getting in touch with different things that are going on that are kind of behind the scenes. It's making the subconscious conscious because we are ruled by our subconscious. Some researchers and stuff indicate that like the majority of our decisions and things like that done every single day are for the most part unconscious, whether we think they're conscious or not. And getting in touch with those kinds of things and then being aware of them, once a unconscious thing is put into awareness, then it no longer becomes an automatic thing, it becomes a choice. Oh, when this kind of thing comes up, I do this. I can choose to change that. Most people think that they can't, or they don't have the willpower to, or, even the desire to look at their stuff. When if you're into magic and you expect it to not involve spiritual growth, you're going to have a bad time. I love that meme. Shared it in the community tab a while back. But so, if we are trying to deal with certain things like, you know, different fears, anxieties, difficulties, and stuff like that in our own little lives, then those things can come up in our meditations. And if you are good at visualization, some people can't visualize at all, but you can have an experience of interacting with that kind of thing. You can have an experience of interacting with a fear. Think of what you're afraid of. It could show up in your meditation if you focus on it, whether it's the abominable snowman from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or a snake, or heights, or something like that. Those kinds of things, going back to Raph's book, are in like the imaginal realm. So that's more or less on the mental plane. It exists in here. It's not being fed or influenced by anything outside. And you can really get in touch with the different kind of person, the kind of person that you are, and the difficulties that you have by exploring these kinds of things. What's going on with me lately? What are the good things? What are the bad things? I'm going to explore the bad things so I can destroy them and transmute them, you know? And then there's a level above that, which kind of, it's like the border between just your imagination and a higher realm that can be influenced from stuff that's on the outside, if that makes sense. Where spirits and gods and goddesses, deities, and these archetypes and different things like that, they interact with us in this imaginal space where the experience that I have with a particular deity might be different from your experience with a deity or whatever when you enter meditation. Same thing with a spirit animal or what have you, because it's interpreted through our own filters. So if I wanted to connect with, pick a spirit animal. I'm just gonna go with the good old ones that I've worked with for a long time, the wolf or the fox, right? So if I go into a journey, a journeying kind of thing, and I want to, and I set the intention of working with a fox or a wolf or something, then you start off building that space in your imagination. You're walking through a forest and you start to see a bunch of these different things, and kind of you're the director at this point, where you are setting the scene and then you're exploring it. At some point, it's no longer consciously directed by you, because as you're doing that, you're going deeper and deeper the into the meditation and changing your brain waves, and hypothetically or theoretically opening yourself up to those spiritual energies. That's why a lot of these journeys and things like that, you enter a cave, you enter a hole in a tree, and you're going down and down and down and down. You're going down some winding steps, deeper down. Why? Because we're also trying to bring our brain waves down to a lower frequency, into a more meditational state, which then theoretically allows spirit to connect with us, because we are the antennas, right? And we have to tune those antennas. The more you practice this, the better you get. So if you and I did the same exact thing with the same intention of connecting with a fox, the spirit animal of the fox, and we both start off with that same creative visualization, that's in the imaginal space, that's in the mental plane. Then, once you get in deeper in that state, and that particular spirit, what have you, spirit animal, what have you, interacts or shows up, your experience is going to be different than mine. Unless you direct it exactly. This is what we're going to do, A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. That's all in your mental state. That's in your mental plane. You're directing the movie. You have the script, you have the scene, all that stuff. You're playing the role of both yourself and spirit, and the spirit animal you're working with. Could you do this for exploring a problem? Sure. But you're not getting directly in touch with that particular spirit if you're directing the entire thing. The key is to let go. You encounter this particular spirit animal or what have you. And what do they say to you? What are they showing you? Things like that. You let that be kind of an open-ended answer, and you let that come in from elsewhere. This is what the author of The Wedding of Sophia says, more of a psychoid, or on the psychoid plane. Interesting word. But when you're able to let go and stop being the director, and you are in touch with spirits that are more outside, they interact with you in a way that they can actually make their presence known and be independent agents rather than being puppeted by you. And in this way, you can actually interact with them in a more genuine manner, where you can get, if I called you and I gave you a script with, I'm going to say this, you're going to say that. There's no creativity there. There's no genuineness to our connection. But if I called you and we had a genuine conversation, then I'm not telling you what to do. So I'm not creating this entire scene. We're creating it together. The goal is, when you connect with a spirit, whether it's a spirit animal, god, goddess, what have you, you want to create that experience together. You want to have that open space where you're not directing it, so you can actually interact with that spirit. Because arguably, if you direct the entire thing, it's all in here. If you leave it open, and you got to train yourself with this kind of thing. I do one-on-ones with this kind of stuff, so let me know if you want to learn. But you leave that kind of thing open, then that archetype that you call on, whether it's a fox, Yahweh, Sophia, Isis, Lilith, whatever, Hecate, I don't care, their influence, arguably, you're tapping into it by calling on that archetype, that energy, that particular deity. They come in, and then that interaction that they have is driven on your side by you, and on their side by them. So you're reaching arguably above the mental plane. Everything exists in the mental plane because you're here. You're stuck in this flesh prison. Human suits are itchy. And when you are out there in astral projection, journeying, what have you, they, good analogy. I'm here mentally. When I'm just meditating, I'm right here. When I'm going in the astral, I'm up here. Deities are up here. When we make that call out to them, they come down and interact with us on this astral plane. Arguably, you could join them up here, but training wheels, we're going to stick with the astral plane. By letting go of this is what's going to happen, you are more likely to be up here in the astral plane when you interact with them. If you direct everything, you are down here, and they're down here too because you're making them up. But you want to meet them in the astral plane by going there and letting go. Because the second you start directing it, your brain's filtering it with what I want to have happen, and your ego takes over. But the more that you leave it open-ended to what you see and what you do and what you experience, then you could define that as being on the astral plane. Is this an exact explanation? Not entirely, but trying to elucidate it for you so you kind of understand that when you do any journey work, whether it's sitting out in nature or doing the gate walking after you make your circumambulations and you crash in front of the altar and you have an experience, if you are mentally holding on to everything and directing everything with puppet strings, you're not really genuinely having an experience. Now, could you direct one in order to, have like a growth experience in your head, like facing a fear or whatever? Sure. That's what the first concept of Sprolpa, mind emanation, was about in Tibetan Buddhism, you know. But the idea is the more that you let go with these kinds of things, the more spirit is going to interact with you. It's like people that engage in prayer. They just pray, They say, "Hey, particular deity, please help me out with this." You have to call in their name, talk about their attributes, and then make your request. It's a request. It's not a demand, right? If we direct what our interactions are with the divine in our minds, it's not genuine. When we ask for their presence and they show up, then that's more of a genuine interaction. Like I was saying with the phone call analogy, if you want to make friends with other spirits in the divine, you can't tell them what to do. You can't be a bossy person. Think about it. If you were a super bossy person and anytime one of your friends hung out, you bossed them around with everything that they said or did, they wouldn't want to be friends with you, would they? So if you want to interact with different spirits and whatnot, you can't be the director. You're an independent agent, and so are they. And when you work together in this way, they can interact with you, you can interact with them, and you can learn something. And spirits do want to interact with us. That's why they're constantly reaching out to us if you know how to listen and you train yourself to sense them. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this one. Drop your stuff down in the comments. Any questions? If you want to explore any of these topics further, check out a bunch of my other videos or request a video topic that I haven't done yet. Or maybe that you can't find in my slew of about 600 something videos so far on this channel. Anyways, also, if you read fiction, I have my latest novel that just came out. It's called A War of Voices. I think I'm going to leave a link to it down in the description in all my videos from now on, but definitely check it out. I personally, shameless plug, I think it's worth reading. Anyway, until next time, good hunting.